Hi, my name's Jack. I'm a product designer and video maker from the UK, and for the past 3 months I've been remote working and travelling as a digital nomad. So far I've lived in Toronto, New York and Mexico City, all for a month each, and I've had an absolute blast. However, as to be expected, I have learnt quite a few lessons along the way, and I want to share 7 of those with you today in this video. So let's get straight into it with the first thing, which is to be patient to meet people when arriving in new locations. I've been super lucky so far on my trip that every place that I've been, I've met some amazing people. However, the amount of time that that's taken has varied. For example, in Toronto, immediately when I arrived, I got on really well with the people who were staying in the same Airbnb as me. However, when I was in New York, it took about a week for me to really kind of get to know anyone and start having fun in the city. This is something I actually discussed in a previous video about my first week in New York, so if you're interested in hearing more about that, go and watch that video. But what that did teach me was that you're always going to eventually meet people if you put yourself out there, do a few different things, and just kind of generally be a nice person and go around with a smile on your face. A few days or a week can feel like a long time to go without socializing or meeting people if you are a sociable person like myself. However, in the grand schemes of things, waiting a week really isn't that long amount of time. I've also found there are quite a few things that I can do just to speed up that process. The first thing is to try and be as sociable as possible with the people you're living with if you are living with others. This is obviously only applicable if you are staying in a hostel or a co-living space or a shared Airbnb, but when I have stayed in places like that, I've always tried to be as sociable as possible with the people I'm living with. When available, I've also tried to go to as many expat and digital nomad meetups as possible, as everyone going to those things are in the same position as me, so they're always up for a chat and wanting to meet new people and make friends. I've also taken advantage of Facebook groups and WhatsApp groups made for expats and digital nomads in different locations, as again, most people in those groups are there for the purpose of meeting people. Another thing that I've done is use dating apps such as Hinge, Tinder and Bumble. And finally, just having faith in the fact that random encounters will happen. So going out and about, doing activities on my own, going to walking tours, being sociable, going to bars, eventually you're just going to meet people. And that is always what I've found in a new place. Just sometimes I've had to be patient for a few days or a week. Lesson number 2 is it's fine to do nothing once in a while. Before I started traveling, I envisaged that every day I'd finish work and then immediately go out and explore, do an activity, go and be sociable, but it's just not sustainable to do that every day. Everyone needs some chill time, some alone time, so it's completely fine to just, have a chilled evening, watch Netflix, chill in bed, watch YouTube, just do nothing basically. Especially when you're staying in a place for a long amount of time, you need to treat it just like normal life a lot of the time. And doing that will mean you have more energy to do things and enjoy things more when you do them. Number 3 is that routine is hard but still important to me. I've always relied pretty heavily on routine to make sure that I prioritize things that are important to me, such as getting a good amount of sleep, going to the gym, eating healthy at kind of regular times, doing things like YouTube and side projects like freelancing. These are all things that I care a lot about, and I've found that in parts of my trip where I haven't prioritized these things, I've kind of neglected them. Generally, I haven't been as happy as periods of this trip when I've still prioritized those things that are important to me. Even doing boring things like going to the gym or getting regular sleep might not seem like a priority while traveling. I've actually found that focusing on those things means that when I do go and explore and do go and hang out with people, I have a lot more energy and I'm a lot happier and more enthusiastic about those things than times on this trip where I've just completely forgotten about that routine and healthy habits. The 4th thing I've learned is that there's no rush to do everything as soon as I arrive in a new location. Obviously, it's super exciting traveling between places, arriving in a new place, and then having all these new things that I can do. But if I'm staying there for a month or longer, there's actually no need to, get everything off the to-do list within a week, see everything, do everything. So I found instead focusing on just settling into that new location, getting the basics right, you know, being happy where I'm staying, learning kind of the local area, and then starting to spread out a bit more into the city or wherever I am is usually just a lot better. Also, you know, if you tick everything off in the first week, you're gonna leave yourself with 3 weeks of nothing to do or repeating things. So yeah, if you space out activities and everything that you wanna do, it'll keep the location more exciting for longer as well. Number 5 is a lesson that I've learned, but is a mistake that I've kept on repeating, and that is traveling on a hangover is so rough. So far, every time I've changed location, on the last night of my previous location, I've usually had some kind of night out or leaving party or something with the people that I've met in that place. This means on the day that I've traveled from that location to the next place, I've been really hungover, and yeah, being on an aeroplane, being in an airport, being in taxis or buses while hungover is not fun at all. Every time I regret it, but saying that, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it again. I have found a few ways to make it not so bad, and the main thing is just to be fully prepared for the day of traveling before doing any kind of partying, night out or whatever. This means being fully packed, fully checked in, being fully aware of where you're going and what you need to do on that day. Obviously, this still doesn't mean it's a fun and happy experience, but if I'm relying on my hungover self to do these things with like 2 brain cells available, it's just a recipe for disaster. So I've always tried to make sure I'm fully prepared for that day of travel. Number 6 is it takes time to settle into a new place. Again, New York was the biggest example of that for me. The first few days I really wasn't feeling comfortable in the part of the city I was staying in the Airbnb I was staying in, and I think it also related to the fact that it took a few days for me to meet people in the city. I also felt the same way in Mexico City, however, because I'd already been through that experience in New York, I could tell myself that, you know, it just takes time to settle into a new place. It takes time to meet people. And again, within a week, I felt fully settled in, I'd met cool people and was having a great time. I think also every time I've left a place so far and gone to a new place, I kind of get a form of post-holiday blues after leaving the previous place because every place I have enjoyed so much so far. I think everyone can relate to that feeling of leaving a place where you've had a good time and not feeling so good after. So I think that's kind of negatively impacted me arriving in a new place. But being aware of that means that I can manage those feelings, and the excitement of being in a new place nearly always takes over very quickly. And the final thing that I've learned is there's quite a big difference between meeting new people and the long-term friendships that you already have. Don't get me wrong though, for me so far, meeting new people and making new friends has been absolutely kind of the best part of this whole experience. Learning about people's backgrounds, getting new perspectives, experiencing new and exciting things with new people is absolutely amazing. However, at the same time, I do feel like a lot of new relationships and meeting new people can be very surface level. When I meet new people, I want them to see the best version of me and give a greater first impression. Whereas if you're spending time with people that you've known for years, you can kind of show them every part of yourself, you know, your positive side, your downsides, your more vulnerable sides, and you know you're not going to get any kind of judgment doing that. This difference became very apparent to me when I had a few friends visit me a couple of months into my trip. Even just in the short period of time that I spent with them opposed to, you know, other people who I'd met on my trip, I really noticed that kind of difference in friendship with people you've known for years versus friendship with people you've known for days or even just hours. I have spoken about this though to other digital nomads, other travelers and people that I've met and not known for very long, and everyone actually seems to feel the same way, which was pretty reassuring to me. And I think going forward it's just going to make me more appreciative of the longer term friendships and relationships that I have in my life. Overall though, the first 3 months of being a digital nomad has been an absolutely amazing experience, and as I've progressed through this trip and learning the things that I've talked about during this video, I think I can use these lessons to make the experience even better. I'm sure in another 3 months I'll have learned even more, so quite likely I'll do a what I've learned after 6 months video. So if you want to see that, make sure to subscribe. If you found this video entertaining or interesting, then please click the thumbs up button. Comment below what you think of the things that I've learned so far, and also maybe if you're a traveler or digital nomad, any lessons that you've learned that you can share with me and everyone else that will help enhance everyone's experiences. Follow me on social media at jackjenkinsyt to stay up to date with my travels, and apart from that, I'll see you in the next one.